And joining us now live is Archbishop Michael Crotty. He is the Apostolic Nuncio to Nigeria, and he joins us now from Abuja, the capital, for a conversation on the passing of the Pope. I want to say thank you so much for taking out the time to join us, Archbishop. And let me just get started by asking, how is the Church taking this, this solemn time to grieve the passing of the Pope?
It is a time of great grief for the Church, for the countless faithful throughout the world. Also here in Nigeria, we have been praying for many months, last couple of months, for the good health of the Holy Father. And we were also happy to see him on Sunday making his visit to St. Peter's Square. He joined for the end of the solemn blessing at the end of Easter Sunday Mass, and afterwards he traveled among the crowds and the faithful in St. Peter's Square. And while he looked ill, there was great hope that he was finally on the road to recovery. And so it came as a great shock, an unexpected shock on Monday morning when we received the news that he had gone to God. And so it is a huge loss for us. He is a father. That is why we call him Holy Father. He is he's our father in the faith. And for now, there's a huge emptiness in the Church, which the Catholic faithful feel throughout the world. Every day now, during the celebration of Mass, where you customarily mention the name of the Pope, there is no Pope to mention because the See of Rome is vacant. We have a sede vacante, as they call it. And that is literally a void, an emptiness. And we are praying now for the Holy Father, for that the Lord may receive him into his heavenly home as we prepare for the funeral Mass on Saturday morning in St. Peter's Square.
And as we prepare for Saturday morning at St. Peter's Square, one has to look at, the vacancy, or rather his legacy and what he means for the Catholic Church. We're at a time of uncertainty with all that's happening in Gaza and Israel, as well as, President Trump and all of his initiatives and immigration law. What does this mean at this time for the Church and his legacy on the Church?
Well, I think Pope Francis, as all his predecessors, was a pilgrim of peace, a pilgrim of hope. He wanted to be a voice for peace in the world, a voice for looking after the poor, the marginalized. He was very concerned for the plight of migrants, for refugees, and certainly in all the wars that are happening, unfortunately, in the world at the moment, with the war in Ukraine and the war in Gaza and in Israel, and many other parts, in many parts of Africa. Even on his Easter Sunday address, which was read out on his behalf, he addressed many of these areas of the world. So as the Supreme Pontiff, one of his concerns in the world, as part of his universal mission, was one of peace. And I think it's a witness to his office as Pope in all these years, these past 12 years in doing that. So we are feeling a big loss now at the moment, and so it is crucial that we join, we pray for that a new successor of St. Peter will be found in the person of a new Pope.
And lastly, as we're talking about his legacies, one also has to bring Africa on the fore, and most importantly, Nigeria. Nigeria has one of the largest weekly attendance in Africa, besides Kenya. And so one has to look at, Nigeria is clearly a church of interest in the entire body of the Catholic Church. And how would you look at what Nigerian Catholics will remember the Pope Francis the most for?
Well, I think they will remember him for his humility, his simplicity, and his own personality. He very much brought his own personality to the papacy. He did many things the way he was used to do them in in Buenos Aires when he was Archbishop there. And I think those aspects of his personality and his style of being a pope will be missed, and be very much part of his legacy, and also his great emphasis on key themes such as mercy, and being a merciful father, and he certainly always encouraged priests to be ministers of mercy, of God's mercy to the faithful. And I think they will be missed for those things. And Nigeria, of course, as you say, is a very important presence in the Catholic Church in the world, and will be part of that. There will be, at the funeral mass, there will be 2 Nigerian cardinals attending, and many other fathers and sisters and lay people who are in Italy and in other parts of Europe, I'm sure, will also make their way to Rome to participate in the funeral of the Holy Father.
And lastly for you, Archbishop, before I let you go, what was one thing from his legacy that would stick with you and maybe change your world view or perspective when it comes to service, you know, and your service to his vineyard?
Well, when I was in Rome, I worked in Rome for a number of years, and I was overlapped with Pope Francis when I was in Rome. And we lived in the same house. He moved in, as you know, he lived in the Casa Santa Marta, in the residence in the Vatican. So I think we're always struck by that desire of his to live as much of his life as before, the simplicity. He desired to live in a community of priests who are working in the Vatican, as if to say he was just one among us. And that is something that will always leave a lasting impression. You know, just meeting him in the corridor, meeting him in the elevator, things like that, little remarks like that. You know, so it's the simplicity and the ordinariness that he sought as Pope.
I must say thank you so much, Sir Archbishop Michael Crotty, for just taking out the time to join us and just give us a bit more of that personal story of you and the Pope. Again, may his soul rest in peace. Thank you.